I hope you had a wonderful Independence Day weekend, the nation's birthday. Those of you who hate America, I hope you didn't have any time off. And remember this, you're always free to leave. We try to secure our border one way, not the other way. If you want to leave, leave. But they don't want to leave. They want to destroy. I want to talk about this issue of free speech. Not necessarily the First Amendment, per se, but free speech. There are limits to free speech. Like, our children shouldn't be shown pornography when they're in school or in school libraries. They shouldn't be taught about sexuality when they're 5 and 6 years old. They shouldn't be asked behind the backs of their parents whether they actually believe they are the right sex, and if they want something done about it, if they want to change their names. And yet I'm finding that on the radical left and the corporatists, they actually view that as a free speech issue. It's nothing to do with free speech. It's perversion. It's a violation of parental rights. Now, there's a lot to talk about today, and I'm going to get to all of it. But I'm now in the middle of a controversy. Why? Because I wrote a book. Are there dirty pictures in the book? No. Are there sexual graphics in the book? No. Do I go behind anybody's back when this book is eventually released? No. So what's the controversy? The title of the book. The Democrat Party hates America. I just found this out about 2 hours before I came on the air tonight. Now, Target has told Simon & Schuster, my publisher, Threshold Books, that when the book comes out in September, it will not carry the book. It told them, quote, the title is polarizing, and Target wants to be sensitive to all their guests. But they will make it available at Target.com. The title is polarizing. Now, as I seem to recall, Target does a lot of polarizing stuff with clothing, with hiring, with customers, with colors, with flags. They're all into this ESG movement. But because I take on the opposite party, that's polarizing to the point where Target does not want its customers to have an option to purchase the book. Now, there are leftists going online saying, see this? You don't believe in capitalism. Well, Target can do it at once. What are you talking about? What are you fools talking about? I'm not demanding that Target carry the book. I'm informing 14.5 million listeners that this company is 100% woke, 100% in the tank for the left and the Democrat Party. Barnes & Noble's going to carry the book. Books A Million's going to carry the book. Walmart's going to carry the book, and a lot of them. And we'll see what happens down the road if they're boycotted or whatever. But Amazon didn't blink for all the criticism they take. Didn't blink, not once. And so my view is that now that Target has thrown down the gauntlet fairly publicly, that I feel we need to throw down the gauntlet with them. This book is, for me, the greatest book I've ever written. I don't just say that. Those of you who get it and read it, you'll see what I mean. It's the greatest book I've ever written. My editors think so. My family thinks, oh, Mark, that's by... My family tells me the truth. The greatest book I've ever written. And I also think it's the most important under these circumstances. It's not written for Democrats, unless they want to wake up. It's not written for the Democrat Party media. It's not written for Democrat Party professors and Democrat Party teachers unions and all the rest. It's written for you. And if you decide to give it to Democrats, that's a great thing. Maybe if they'll get past the first 50, 60 pages, a couple of light bulbs will go off. You've heard people call here and say that. You've heard them say that. But one of the things the Democrat Party is very high on these days is censorship. Whether it's corporate censorship, having nothing to do with the First Amendment, or censorship that violates the First Amendment. We're going to get to that in a minute with this fabulous ruling by this federal judge. But this book, in my view, needs to get into the hands of as many people as possible, which is why I think the ideologues, the radical left ideologues, are going to try and prevent that as much as they possibly can. I believe that. They will do everything they can. And so when I do believe in capitalism. I do believe in the market system. And that's why I'm going to encourage those of you who haven't already not to shop at Target. I'm not trying to compel Target to carry my book. But they're offending my audience. And they're offending me. And if that's the basis for corporatist censorship, okay, fine. We can play that game too. I am not going to roll over and play dead. That's not going to happen. Republicans and conservatives do that too damn often. In fact, Target's proving the point of the book. The Marxists want monopoly control of politics, of voting, of the culture, of the government, of the country. That's what they want. And a book like this is dangerous to them. It's dangerous to them. They know it, and I know it. And the Democrat Party has its finger in all of this. It is the organization through which these movements are organized. Like in any autocratic, repressive regime. They need an organization. They need a body through which they act politically, culturally, win elections in order to destroy elections. And if that's how this book is viewed by them, then I think by you it should be viewed as their kryptonite. So I'm hoping as many of you as possible who can afford it, if you're thinking about getting it, you'll go in and get it now at Amazon.com. Now, some people have said, well, the discount's been changed. Discount's going to change right up to the point it's released. But if they release it on a 30, 40% discount on the date of release, you will get that discount. That's my understanding. You have nothing to fear from that. Thank God there are many platforms now for publishing and for making books available to you. It's strange. You know, it really is strange. It's so weird. I feel like I'm going back to the time of the King of England and the colonists. Who can publish what? Shh. Don't read that book in public, Rush used to say about liberty and tyranny. Make sure you read it, but put it in a paper bag. And I'm sure he'd say the same about this one. You know what else he would say? Don't take their crack. Don't take their crap. Go out there and kick butt. And he'd join in and he'd help. I want nothing more than for you people to get this book and read it. If you're just going to get it, don't get it. Get it and read it and then pass it along to somebody else. I'm telling you, only about, let me count, 4 people have read this book beginning to end. 4. The vice president, Simon & Schuster, my editor and assistant editor, and my wife. That's it. And for all of them, their chins drop. Well, Mark, no. I'm telling you, and I feel it in my own. Look, nobody's a harder marker on me than me. Whether it's radio or TV or Blaze TV or writing book. Nobody is a harder marker than I am. Nobody. On me. And the truth will be as they say in the pudding. Once you get it, once you read it, you'll know. Was Mark telling you the truth or not? But I know who doesn't want you to read it. And I know who will do everything they can to prevent it from being made publicly available. They will fail. But I do think we need to take names. Not to compel people to do things they don't want to do. I don't care. Target doesn't have to take the book. Who cares? But what I care about is the motive behind it. It's bigger than Target. It's to keep information, historical facts, critical philosophical points, present-day information, connecting the dots, and all the rest of it out of your hands. Because what the Democrat Party and their Marxist friends want more than anything else is conformity. Conformity. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to be embarrassed to carry a book that says the Democrat Party hates America out of a bookstore. They want you to be embarrassed to have it delivered to your home from Amazon. They want you to be embarrassed to read it on a plane and carry it under your arm. Are they embarrassed about anything? Anything. They're in your face. They're in the face of your children. They don't care. Well, we need to get stronger. We need to get stronger. I already said, I know what kind of grief I'm going to take from this book. I don't care. When you read it, you'll see why. This isn't a polemical book. This isn't a shoot from the hip book. Those of you who've read my other books, like American Marxism and Liberty and Tyranny, you know how I write. This book flows like a novel. But it is brutal. Like the title. There's no reason to hide. And we need to make sure we never get to the day 5, 10, 20 years from now when we have to hide. When our children have to hide. So if you can go over to Amazon.com and we can drive this thing up the list to number 1, I would really think that would send a message to everybody. And they need to have a message. If you can't, I completely understand. Target is not required to carry this book. Did I say call Target and tell them to carry this book? No. It's what they're doing, what others are doing, and not just to me.